Hey guys, welcome to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. And as you can hear, you can tell I got a cold I'm dealing with. And so hopefully my guests will fill in for me. I think you're just going to let you have the whole show, Stetzen.
No pressure.
No pressure. The beauty of working from home is you catch cold from your family when you're around them all the time. It's okay. We'll get through this. This is going to be a good show, and just excited to chat with Stetzen because he's been somebody I've been wanting to have on my show for a while because he has a full-time job. He's got a beautiful wife and a kid on the way, and you're busy. You got a lot going on. And so you are building this business. You're already doing some incredible things with it, but you're doing it on the side, and you're not neglecting your family, which is huge. And so we would definitely want to get into that on this episode. Stetzen, thanks for being on with me. Appreciate it.
No, it's an honor to be on. I'm looking forward to chatting with you. It ought to be fun.
Yeah, and I appreciate it very much. And so I know you may not have been able to listen. I don't know if you've listened to my show or not, but I love to start with people's stories. I love to hear where people come from, because you may come from a background that one of my listeners is going to be like, oh my gosh, I identify with him. I get it now. I if he can do it, I can do it. Or if she can do it, I can do it, So to take us back, you don't have to go go back as far as you want, but especially your entrepreneurial journey, how you got started there, anything else that's would be valuable to my listeners.
Sure. So I'll start off. So I'm Stetzen. I've been married 8 years as of last month to my wife Meredith, and we're expecting our first child, a baby girl, at the end of January. And,
congratulations.
So I think I'm as ready as I can be. So we'll see.
Well, get your sleep now. Everybody probably tells you this, sleep now and get that in now. But it'll change your life. It's going to be an awesome change. It'll change your life forever. But my goodness, it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me, becoming a dad.
Yeah, we're really excited. So, and time's just going by so fast. So yeah, I'll kind of rewind and go back and just kind of share with how I got started.
Yeah.
Selling online and just changing that mindset. So I'd worked in the private sector. I turned 30 this year. So I'd worked in the private sector for several years, and I was actually working in the healthcare field. I worked in supply chain process improvement for a hospital. And I was working 50 to 60 hours a week, constantly checking my emails on my phone when I got home. Sometimes if I could sneak away on Sunday afternoon, I was back at the office because it was quiet, trying to get things done. And I loved what I did, but it was just, it was a 50-hour week, 60-hour week.
Sure.
And I kind of started looking down the road and recognizing that, if I wanted to advance, that just meant that I was locking myself into that 60-hour work week, even more so because it was expected of you, higher to climb.
And all your superiors were doing the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I get to work early in the morning because I'm an early morning person, and with the intent of leaving early, but I could just never bring myself to leave early because you don't want to be that person in the office.
You don't want to leave before your boss.
No one knows what time you got there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so I just started kind of thinking like, all right, what do I want to be at in 5 years, or what do I want to be at in 2 years? And I loved my boss, got along very, very well with my boss. I loved the work I was doing, working in a hospital, being able to, you're seeing patients, seeing nurses take care of, the patients. It was incredible. So I got a lot of value from what I was doing. However, I just, looking forward to having a family someday and just being able to have more of my time back, the 60-hour work week wasn't really gonna jive with me in the future.
No, definitely not.
And so I started looking around, and I'm live in the capital of Illinois, the capital city of Springfield, Illinois, which is actually the home of Abraham Lincoln, in case anyone didn't know that. So one of the biggest employers here is the state of Illinois.
Okay.
And so I kept my eye peeled for, jobs there. And I finally found a position that I thought would suit me well, use the skills that I had, and where I wouldn't have to work 20 hours of overtime a week. And so I made that switch over to working in state government. And I instantly got back 20 hours every week of my time.
Yeah.
And I like to stay busy. I'm always looking forward to the next thing. So that 20 hours a week turned into like, what am I going to do with this?
Holy cow. So we could park there for a second. So a lot of you might be thinking, you know what, I need a raise. I need somebody to give me more money. You know, time is money. Time is your most valuable asset. So I know we didn't talk about this point here, but that's
Yeah.
super valuable. 20 hours a week that you gain, that's like a huge raise. Now you could,
Oh yeah.
you know, fiddle that away watching TV or movies or whatever, playing video games if you wanted to, but that's not what you did with it.
No. And actually, so the first thing I did, I had all this free time, and I'd heard I don't know who mentioned it, but I think I had a friend from church that said, hey, he was driving Uber a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, hey, I was bored because I had all this free time.
Yeah.
All this free time. So I thought, hey, I'll drive Uber. I like meeting people, I like talking to people.
Yeah.
And
you'd be a good Uber driver.
Yeah. I did enjoy it because you never know who you get in your car. And I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
And then, you know, after a few weeks of doing that, I thought, you know, it's not really worth the money for me. As much as I like it, you know, I had fun doing it, but it didn't make sense on paper for me to do it.
Sure.
Because I was paying myself less than what I was making at my day job. And so then I came across something, and I thought, hey, I wonder this eBay thing. There's, you know, I used to hear people talk about it when I was younger, and you know, I didn't hear much about it for, you know, several years as an adult. And so then I think I came across the video on YouTube, and I remember there was an Animal Protective League garage sale here in Springfield.
Okay.
EPL sale. And I went, and I was just looking around thinking, like, I wonder if I can sell any of this stuff on eBay. Can I make any money doing this? And I bought this antique to stir, the kind you have to stir around and, you know, make the ice cream manually. And I think it was right around $3 for it. And I brought it home, and I told Meredith about it, my wife, and she really kind of wrote me off. She was like, you know, this $3 rusted, you know, ice cream.
What'd you bring in that home for?
Yeah. But, you know, I put it out in the garage, cleaned it up a little bit. This was the same day that I bought it, and took some pictures in the garage. The pictures were horrible. And you can see, like, my messy garage in the background, but I got it up on eBay.
Okay.
And we had friends over that night, and while they were over here, it sold for like $65.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'll take those returns every day, all day long.
Exactly. Yeah. But I remember, like, taking my smartphone and going and showing Meredith, and I was like,
yeah,
hey, you said it wouldn't sell. And the same day it sold.
That's awesome.
And so I actually, you know, I was hooked at that point.
For sure.
This is crazy. And my second month selling on eBay, I just started going to thrift stores, garage sales, and just looking up everything on eBay, checking the sold listings, just seeing if I could make money on it. And my second month on eBay, I made $400.
Okay. Yeah.
And so then I just started paying myself, you know, $400 or $500 every month from eBay. And then I had the same, you know, conversation I had with myself whenever I was driving Uber. I thought, all right, am I really making enough money for my time? It's fun, but can I go anywhere further with this? And that's when I came across the Amazon opportunity.
That's good. Okay, let's park there for a second too. So guys, I mean, I know a lot of you might be in this position where what you're doing is fun, this side business that you have, Amazon, eBay, whatever it is, driving Uber. Are you trading time for dollars? Danny always talks about Stetzen, you know, Danny, my friend, Danny Stock talks about what's your hourly wage. So look at what you're doing and divide it by the number of hours that you're working. You should be making a really high hourly wage with your side business such that it's worth you doing. Now, if you're doing this as a hobby and you're just having fun with it, that's totally cool. Nothing wrong with that. But if your goal is to create an income that you can quit your job with, it better be more than $10 an hour or $15 an hour. You need to be making some decent money for it to be worth your time to do it. And so that's so cool that you took that. A lot of folks are just thinking, oh yeah, I'm making money, I'm doing $400 a month. Well, they don't realize they're working 80 hours a week to create that $400. Well, that's not worth it. You know, it's you're making $5 an hour or less.
Yeah, no, it's fun, but it's not that fun.
Exactly. No, you're trying to create an extra business here. Yep.
Yep.
So we got 1 minute left. Let's dig in. Well, we can talk more in the next segment about Amazon. So how'd you find Amazon?
So Amazon, I think I originally found it on YouTube as well. And then right after that, I found the Silent Sales Machine podcast. And I listened to that podcast for probably 6 or 7 weeks straight, just filling it out, seeing, hey, is this really real? Is this, is this worth looking into?
Yeah.
And for 6 weeks, every day I would listen to an episode and kind of go back and listen to them. And then finally made the decision to go ahead and purchase Pack, and I haven't looked back since.
Cool. Guys, that's an awesome podcast. One of my favorites. My friend, mentor, he was in episode 2. Jim Cockrum has the Silent Sales Machine podcast. It's incredible. In fact, one of the last ones he posted about relationships is one of my favorites. So we'll be back more with Stetzen in the next segment. We're going to dig into more of his Amazon journey and how he just manages to do all of this and have a full-time job. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. I know my voice sounds more like Barry White right now, but it's okay. We'll get through this. Stetzen is talking and doing a great job of helping me out here, so I'm not having to do it all. I appreciate it. But we've been talking with Stetzen about how he, I loved how you, and we never know which way we're going to go on a show like this, but you said you were working 60 hours a week, and you found a new job with the state of Illinois that made it to where you only had to work 40 hours a week. So you got 20 hours a week there. Guys, that's a huge raise. Think about, if you change jobs and you gain extra time, that is super valuable that you can use to start a business with. You started selling on eBay, your ice cream machine, your ice cream maker. You bought it for $3 and sold it for $60 on eBay.
$65.
$65. That's incredible. You were hooked at that time and started selling stuff on eBay or making $400 a month. But then you looked at your hourly wage, what you were really making, and decided, well, hey, I need to be doing something different with my time because this is great. I'm making some money, but it's not really where I want to be. So you found Amazon. You said you found Jim's The Silent Sales Machine podcast and the Proven Amazon course. So let's dig into that. How you found Amazon and what you did with that.
Yeah. So when I was, looking for material on Amazon and how to get started, and there was just a lot to learn. Where do I even start with Amazon? I knew how to sell products online. So I thought with eBay, and actually I'll rewind just a little bit. So what I did with eBay, when I started diving into Amazon a little bit more, I found a teenager that would come to my home. I had a setup in the basement, a photo studio that I was taking eBay pictures on, and kind of had a system in place. And so I had someone that wanted to make a few dollars a week, and had her come over and take pictures and create eBay listings for me.
Yes.
And
so you outsourced early.
I outsourced early. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. So eBay was still, that's where I was making my extra money with eBay. And then I was taking my free time and learning about Amazon and going through the Proven Amazon course, and actually joined the Q4 group early on last year as well. And, just that gave me a huge boost in just learning how to sell on Amazon and, spending all this time in the store. And I mean, it was a learning curve, but I had the tools. I had the Proven Amazon course. I had, the Q4 success groups, and there was just a wealth of information. And I'm one of those people that I give myself kind of a timeline as, all right, I'm going to give 100% to this until this date, and then I'll stop and evaluate and see if it's worth my time. If not, I'll find something else.
Yes.
So that's how I really.
That's super valuable. My friend Dan Miller talks about that, and a lot of people think, what, I'm never going to give up, and that, that's an awesome attitude to have. But let's say, for example, Stetzen, I had a dream. I want to become a country music artist. Well, I could work really hard at that, take voice lessons, and move to Nashville. That's probably not going to happen for me. That's just probably not going to be something that it ends up happening. And I could be like, what, I'm not going to give up on this dream. I'm going to continue. And meanwhile, my wife's saying, you need to give this up. Guys, there's absolutely nothing wrong with giving it your all for a certain period of time, 6 months. Dan Miller even says, like, if you're trying something new, give it a year, whatever that timeline is for you, give it your all, but then look at it where you are and like, okay, is this really what I need to be doing? Is this worth my effort? There's no problem in switching gears and going a different direction. So I don't think at all, Stetzen, if you would have said, what, I think I need to quit this Amazon thing and, do something completely different, that would have been quitting at all, because you gave it a certain amount of time. So guys, there may some of you out there that have been doing something for 3 and 4 years and aren't seeing results of it. It may be time to look at and think, what, is this really what I need to be doing, or my efforts better spent somewhere else?
That's good. That's really good. And I'm glad you mentioned your wife, because I involved Meredith right off the gate with the Amazon piece. The eBay thing, she was pretty good with. My
Sure.
second month selling, I was, putting money in our bank account.
Mm-hmm.
So we were good. We were good
Yep.
with the eBay thing.
Wives like to see the money come in. Show me the money.
Yeah. And so the Amazon, they're, investing in, buying a course to learn
Sure.
Amazon and get training. I involved her in all those decisions. I remember the decision of talking about the Proven Amazon course.
Sure.
And I think I thought about it for almost 2 weeks.
Okay.
After listening to that podcast for 5 or 6 weeks,
Uh-huh.
I thought about it, and then, pulled the trigger after a few weeks and bought the Proven Amazon course. And she's just been huge in like helping me. Even there's times, when I first started selling Amazon, and I think, is it really worth it? And, I'm sitting down at the dining room table with my wife, and we're figuring out numbers. I remember one time we were, I think I was just frustrated, and things weren't going as fast as I
Sure.
wanted them to go. And I remember Meredith, we took a piece of paper and just wrote down and kind of step by step, all right, if I grow 10%, if I grow 15%, here's where I'm at.
Yes.
And so that's just been instrumental, having, a spouse that's, supports that and will help motivate me and
absolutely,
and just push me. So yeah, I dove into Amazon. I started spending a lot of time in the store at Walmart. I'm about 45 seconds away from Walmart.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm a morning person. So I still to this day, a lot of mornings I'm up at, my alarm goes off at 4:20 in the morning, actually.
Oh my gosh.
That's my weekday alarm. And I don't have to
Is that intentional? I mean, is that because of, did you do that before the Amazon business, or are you doing that because of the business?
No, I really am doing that because of the business. There was, there were some times that when I, worked, in the healthcare field, that I really enjoyed what I did. So I would get up early and sometimes go into the office early before everyone else. But now at this point in my life, my alarm set at 4:20, and when I get up, it's solely to work on Amazon business or some stream of income.
That's awesome.
Either going to the store, going to Walmart, or going to like Meijer and looking for products, or picking up replenishable products, or, maybe spent creating a shopping list to have someone else go buy those products. So I'm usually doing something in the morning.
Yeah, I always see your post in one of the groups. So, that one the other day was an icy morning, and you were out at Walmart or something.
Yeah, I was out. Yeah, at Meijer that morning. It was a little bit of a slick ride, but it didn't stop me. I'm close enough where I thought, surely I can make it the 2 minutes to get to the store. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. And the mornings that I don't want to get out of bed, and I know I need to, like last night was one of those nights, and I thought, I might struggle to get out of bed. I usually just lean over and ask Meredith, hey, when my alarm goes off, kick me out of bed. And she does a really good job of that.
Does she? That's awesome.
Yeah, really good job of that. If I hit snooze too many times, I'm in
She's
trouble.
your accountability partner.
Oh yeah, she's a great accountability partner.
That's really good. Guys, there's so much, and we could dig into so much of what you just said there about having the importance of having a spouse who supports you. So, if you're listening to this show and you have a spouse who is building a business and you have no entrepreneurial bone in your body, don't feel like you have to get involved in that business with them, or have to turn on that entrepreneurial part of your brain maybe you don't think exists. Just support them. That's huge enough. Just say, you know what, honey, I have your back. And whether, you're a man or a woman, and you are, whatever your spouse is doing, and you just don't want to be involved in it for whatever reason, you don't have time. Maybe you're dealing with the kids, and you're like my wife, for example, Stetzen, she was involved in the business for a long time. When we had Callan, she hasn't done anything in the business for 2.5 years, actually 3.5 years, because when she was pregnant, she kind of completely backed out.
Sure.
And that's okay. But she's there to support me. So if your spouse is the one that's doing the business for you, just you being supportive in the background is huge. Giving them words of encouragement, being there when things are down, when they're depressed, when it's, a bad sales day or whatever, and you're like, I'm behind you. I believe in you. I believe you can do this, guy, especially if it's coming from a guy, especially if you hear your wife say that kind of stuff. Oh my goodness. That is so super important to a guy's ego. Not in an egotistical way, just a respectful way. Like it means so much to us as guys to hear our wives say, I'm behind you. You got this. You can do this. I believe in you. Just all that stuff is so huge for us. It keeps us going when there might be everybody else saying, this is not going to work, or we're telling ourselves it's not going to work. If you have your spouse behind you saying that kind of stuff, it just keeps us moving forward. That's so awesome.
Definitely. Yeah. My wife works a full-time job as well. She's a nurse practitioner.
Yeah.
And so I was really, it just blew me away because there were days where I'd have a bunch of product downstairs in the basement. I need to get it out and ship to Amazon. But after working all day, it was just, I can put it off for a couple of days. And, and she would say, nope, we got to get it out.
Don't get it out. Get down there.
So we'd go downstairs together and, and spend, sometimes 2 or 3 hours prepping
and knock it out.
Poly bags. And she was helping me and, worked out well. So, a lot of the times, I probably would have given up if it wasn't her saying, all right, let's do it together. And I'm sure, putting items in the poly bags isn't what she wants to do after.
No,
but at work herself, but yeah, it worked out well. And she actually trained when I got to the point where I could hire help for the Amazon side of things as well. She actually trained that person.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
This is good stuff, guys. We'll be back tomorrow with Stetzen Fleming right after the break. Hey, guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. As you can tell, getting over a cold here, but we're having a great talk with Stetzen Fleming about how he manages everything, how he started an eBay business, an Amazon business, how his wife was supportive as his accountability partner, kicks him out of bed at 4:30 in the morning, tells him to get to work. It's awesome. So already having some good stuff already and just two segments in. Guys, also don't forget you can grab my book, Streams of Income, for free at streamsofincomeradio.com. All of the episodes all the past episodes are there in podcast form. You can download all of them, listen to all of them on demand. So Stetzen, let's get into how you handle all of it. So you set your alarm for 4:20 in the morning, which is huge. Now, guys, if you're not a morning person, that's okay. Maybe like I have a friend who stays up really, really late and would rather work late into the night. That's fine too. Basically, you just find those snippets of time where you can work on your business, and Stetsen's found it in the morning. So let's talk about your day. How do you manage your time, and how does that look like with a full-time job?
Sure. Yeah. So like I said, I'm up weekdays 4:20, and actually on the weekends, when you get in that habit of getting up early in the morning, it's hard to break on the weekends.
It is hard to break it. Yep.
Yeah. So if I sleep in, it's like till 6 or 6:30 in the morning usually.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah. So I think when I got all this time back, like you said, it was easy, and I still spend, too much time scrolling through social media.
Oh, sure. We all do.
Time, but when you're working a full-time job and you're, building a business, I think you really, what I learned is I have to focus on making the time I have very efficient. And one of the things that I did really from the beginning was I was selling eBay, and I got it started on the Amazon. And we this year made the decision that I'm not going to mow the yard. And, I outsource. There's teenagers. They're actually posting messages on the Nextdoor app, which is like my app.
Yep, we have that too.
Yeah, and they were looking for work, and I thought, hey, this is perfect because I can help these guys out. And they don't want to go get a job in the summer. They're starting a business this summer, and so I let them do the mowing, and that was time that I could spend. Maybe I'm going to the store, maybe I'm downstairs prepping products in our home. So that was really an important lesson I learned from the beginning is that, what are the tasks that I really don't like to do? I don't like to mow.
Sure.
If I didn't like to mow, maybe I keep doing it. But,
sure.
I don't.
Yeah, well, that's one of those things that you can totally do that yourself, but it actually, if you have a business and you're looking for time, it actually costs you to mow your lawn instead of you saving money. Because now if you were going to mess around take that time and you're going to go watch a movie or something, or you're going to go out and, do something that's just a huge waste of time. Well, yeah, then mow your lawn. But if it's choosing between mowing your lawn or building your business, doing something that's going to make you money, then mowing your lawn costs you money. And so that's awesome that you realize that and are doing that now. Just find those tasks around your house that you could have somebody else do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, I mean, and that gave me, some time back every week to work on things there. I tried to be efficient what stores I was going to,
Uh-huh.
because, maybe I have 2.5 hours in the morning that I'm going to dedicate to working on business things. Well, like time goes by so fast if I'm
It
not
does.
efficient, or, if I'm going to the same store every day,
Uh-huh.
another lesson I learned is that, if I go buy all the product on Monday, what are chances are they may not have that, the shelf restocked by Tuesday.
Yep.
So, I don't want to waste my time going to that same Walmart the next day. Maybe I
Good
go
tip.
to the Walmart 5 minutes away.
Right.
So just small things like that. Another thing that I started doing as soon as I could would be, instead of going 3 or 4 days a week to buy the same product that I was selling, I started talking to the managers at like Walmart and Meijer and started ordering cases of that product.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. And that made a huge difference because, I wasn't stocking out on these products and I was saving a lot of time.
Yes.
Because I was getting everything I needed for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks at once.
That's brilliant. You just go pick it up all at once?
Yeah.
That's
They
brilliant.
were happy to do it. So that was another thing I did right away. Something else, like keeping track of where I was spending my time. So like lately, what I've been doing, there's an app that I used called Taskful, Taskful. And I write down like anything I need to accomplish, I put in this app.
Okay.
And, I'm a type A personality type of person, so I like to check off list. And so this app will tell me that if I put 10 things on the list and I complete one, it throws a little bit of a celebration on the screen.
Okay.
And then it tells me I'm 10% done with my list.
Oh, cool. And you don't like being not 100% done.
Right. Yeah. So I'm always, striving to get to that 100%. And so one thing I do to manage time is that I put like the tasks that I need to complete for each day. I put them in that app. And so I know if I can get these things done, then I have, accomplished what I set out to accomplish that day. And when I'm thinking of those tasks, I'm thinking of, I only have 2 hours today to do it. Here are the things I need to spend those 2 hours doing to move my business forward or, to take the next step.
That is brilliant. Oh my gosh. And that's called Taskful with a T?
Yes. Yep.
Taskful. Guys, we'll have the link to that app in the show notes at streamsofincomeradio.com. That is awesome because I know there's a lot of other type A personalities of like that love to check off lists.
Oh yeah.
And piece of paper and pen, and that works too. But if you're more digital oriented, then that's awesome. Never heard of that app.
Yeah.
Really good. So you mentioned earlier, you meant in the notes when we were chatting earlier, a time journal. Is that different than Taskful?
It's different. So the time journal, I would actually recommend just to identify where your time is. So like, like right now, if I needed to create 5 more hours per week to do something else, then what I would do is use like a time journal, track where am I spending my time at, what can be either eliminated or what can be shortened or to find that time. So that was something I was going to discuss for anyone that feels like they don't have the time or they don't have enough time, is to maybe keep a journal for a week or maybe 2 weeks of what you're doing. It takes me 30 minutes to get to work. I'm at work 8 hours. I'm at church 2 hours a week, whatever it is. Then find out where you can, you're budgeting your time. And you start off with where you're expensing your time, and then you can figure out where you can cut those expenses of time to find time for your business.
Brilliant. Yeah. So my friend, and I had a lady a couple episodes ago, Marianne Renner, my friend, who is the master that Dan talks about of using that precious time of, she was working full-time job. And Dan always talks about that 15 hours a week that if somebody needs is to build a business on the side, and how she mastered that and built this huge coaching business off of 15 hours a week. And so I love what you're saying here, because it goes along perfectly with that. Everybody has time. You are spending it. There's going to be a place we could probably look at your schedule and figure out where you're spending time that you wouldn't need to be, or that you could, peel off an hour here of watching TV and go start that business, take that course. Everybody has that time available, and you're basically auditing your time, right? Looking at it and figuring out where you could, invest some of it. Instead of watching TV or doing this or going fishing or playing golf, you could be building a business.
Sure. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yep. And one thing I'll say, because we talked about like outsourcing.
Uh-huh.
And so as I'm doing this, this with you right now,
Yeah.
my helper, she's downstairs in the basement. She's prepping products.
Oh, that's awesome. You're on a
Yeah.
radio show and you got somebody working for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's downstairs and getting stuff done. So, and that's what, I mean, sometimes we mentioned like watching TV, but
Uh-huh.
now I'm at the stage where, we're talking about like balance as well.
Mm-hmm.
There are some evenings where, I like to dedicate evenings to like my family or to my
Yes.
wife, or
Yes.
maybe we're going to spend time with friends. And so a lot of evenings I might, if we're watching TV or whatever, I might have my laptop with me, checking some things out occasionally, but usually I'm sitting right next to my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Most evenings we either, out eating dinner or we're sitting on the couch together. And several of those evenings, someone is here working, prepping those products.
That's awesome. You've multiplied yourself. Yeah, you cloned yourself. I love it.
Yeah. So I'm doing my work in the morning, and then, someone can come in the evening, and while I'm prioritizing my family or my wife, I'm still making progress in my business because, I've outsourced that piece. So, I could do that in the morning, but, my time is better spent doing something else in the morning. So it's just been great.
I love it. So guys, we talk about, TV is bad, but you know what? If your wife loves or your husband loves to watch TV and your quality time is sometimes honestly just being right next to them, like that is valuable to them, like that you're right there. That's huge. So who cares if you're watching TV or a movie, and, just spend that, your family needs to come first. And what we're saying here is don't be spending, 8 hours a day watching TV when you're like, well, nothing's working for me. My life's a wreck. And, you're spending hours on TV or Instagram or YouTube or Facebook. And, when you're wasting time, guys. And when you're spending quality time with your spouse. Stetzen is saying he's spending that quality time with Meredith. Yes, they may be watching TV or watching a movie, but their business is still happening because they have somebody downstairs prepping inventory for him. And then he knows he's getting up that next morning and he's probably going to be sourcing inventory. That's a job right now that he does. And he could even outsource that at some point to where he has shoppers that are all over the state running around with him or running around for him doing that work. And he can just be doing whatever he wants. So guys, we got one more segment with Stetzen. This is good stuff. Super practical for all of you that are building a business. Can't wait to continue digging in. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. We're having an awesome conversation with Stetzen Fleming, and who has a full-time job, has a wife who's got a baby on the way, and he's got a lot going on in his life, and he's still managed to build a very successful business on the side. And so we're talking about priorities, time management, how he does it all. And this applies to any type of business that you have. It doesn't matter if you sell on Amazon or not. There's so many things that are vying for your attention, trying to steal those snippets of time. And Stetzen gave some very practical steps and tips in the last segment on how he manages all that, how he is intentional about the time that he's spending building his business, but yet he's not neglecting his family. He puts his family first. So Stetzen, let's talk about priorities, how you do it all. I mean, how you decide, here's my business. I got to do that. I have to build my business up so I can take care of my family, but I can't do that and neglect my family. And then you have your friends and you guys are really involved with your church. I mean, how do you do it?
Yeah. I think priorities, it's a big piece of that. So I have to know that, where my family lies in my priority list and where my business lies. And so what that looks like for me is that if Meredith if I have something planned to work in my business and Meredith comes to me and, she really needs my time, or she really wants to go do something, or, whatever it is, then because that's higher up on my priority list, that means I need to go take care of that.
Yep.
But I also have to know where to prioritize my business. So, it's Q4. If, a friend sends me a text message, spur of the moment and says, hey, do you want to go bowling? And I have that time set aside to work on my business. Well, then I have to be able to say no.
Right.
I know where my business falls in my priority list.
Sure.
And so, for me, and it can be tough for someone like me because I like to say yes to everything.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. So over the last year, I've had to get really kind of step back and think about that. Like, what do I want to do? What am I passionate about doing?
Sure.
Where do I need to spend my time? And then be comfortable saying no to some things that I'd like to do, but they just don't fit with the priorities of my life right now. And one of the things, this is a great example. A few weeks ago, we started a men's book study at our church. And with a lot of guys my age, and a couple guys reached out and said, "Hey, Stetzen, you're going to join us?" I usually do. And I had to feel 100% comfortable saying, "I'm sorry, I can't," because giving up a night every week for the next few months during Q4, and I've already had this time allotted, and I have plans, and it just didn't work out. 2 years ago, I wouldn't have felt comfortable doing that. I would have just said yes to everything, and something would have suffered.
Yes.
So
and
it's just
your business would have suffered. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I know where my family's at on the priority list, where my business is at, where church is at, and and even like space for friends. Trying to be intentional about spending time with friends, and I mentor an 8-year-old.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Organization here. So even keeping on top of that. So making sure that I'm spending time with him. So maybe it's this evening I picked him up.
Is he the one downstairs working for you?
We joked about that earlier because when my helper got here, he saw her, and my wife was like, she's gonna put you to work too.
That's right.
Not a bad idea. It's time we can spend together.
There might be some laws or rules against that. Is you go to the organization, say, "Hey, I want to mentor 5 different kids every night from
That's pretty ambitious.
7 to 9 p.m. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
Yes, but it can be tough, to fit all these things in and to really not neglect anything at all. But I think what I always go back to is just knowing, it's these 6 things, making sure I'm putting on my task list.
Yep.
Items I need to get done. Maybe it's something that Meredith asked me to do, and that's going on my list to make sure I get it done. Maybe emptying a dishwasher.
Yep.
And because that's a priority for me to take care of my wife.
Yes.
I'm going to make sure that goes on my list to get it done. But
Absolutely.
if I need to source products, it's on my list as well.
That's awesome. I love it. So I know one thing, other thing that you also talked about, and that we mentioned that we could discuss, was the benefit of slow and steady growth. So I know that when you're doing it this way, like, you're still working a full-time job. So you're working 40 plus hours a week. It might mean, because you're doing that you're not able to grow as fast as somebody who has their whole week free to do this business. Yeah. So how do you handle that and not be like, yo, no, I'm so far behind, and, not feel down on yourself?
Yeah. That's a great question. So I started out with Amazon, and that was the mentality I had. Like, I want to get there as quick as I can. And, by any means necessary, that's where I want to get to. And then after a few months, and Meredith helped with this quite a bit as well, but I realized that, I was just going to burn myself out. Yeah. So I left this 60-hour-a-week job, and if I come into it putting 60 hours a week into this, or how much money I'm, really making, it's going to be an issue for me. And so then I kind of fell into this balance of, right now I cap it at 12 hours a week.
Okay. For your job? I mean, for your business. Business, yeah.
12 hours a week. And so I try to keep myself at that cap. And what that forces me to do is to show someone else how to do more.
Yes.
So, like originally it was just prepping products. Yeah. And then it's probably been 2 months ago, I thought, well, if they can prep products, then they can also learn how to put them into the system. Yep. To set up the shipments. And if they can do that, then they can print labels, and just start adding things. I have my 12-hour cap, so if it has to be done, it's going to take longer than 12 hours. I need to get help.
That's awesome. And so that means also that those 12 hours, you're working on those things that pretty much right now only you can do, which are the revenue generating parts of your business.
Yes. Yeah. And my long-term, so the slow and steady piece is I feel comfortable doing that, because when I get to a point where maybe, it doesn't make sense for me to continue working my full-time job, my goal is that I'm efficient enough where I can leave this full-time job, and maybe I'm working 20 hours a week on business
Yeah.
task, and the other 20 hours I get it back to do.
Yes. To go bowling with your friends or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the slow and that's how I kind of keep myself grounded in that slow and steady approach. Is if it's 10% growth a month, that's great because I'm 10% further than where I was last month. And as long as I'm putting those steps in place to make sure I'm getting to where I want to go.
Love it, man. Guys, there is so much here that we could do a whole other episode with Stetzen just talking about this super valuable stuff, because so many people struggle with this, and they'll and guys, me too, because I'll be on my computer and be quote working, but it's stuff like, I may be looking at an email and it's, it's so easy to get bogged down with all these stupid little tasks that are not driving my business forward. I love that you put a cap on it, because then it makes you be more efficient with those 12 hours. Like for me, I can work 2 hours a day, or I can work 20 if I really wanted to. I don't do that, but that means then that there's not as much structure there. But if I would say, okay, Ryan, I'm only going to work for 5 hours, then that means that I have to be able to get everything done in that 5 hours. It probably wouldn't even take me that long. But guys, this is super, super valuable, because we all have the same amount of time. And if you can just put that cap in there, and you're going to be more efficient, and you're going to get more done that way. Cause I think a lot of businesses now are going to like the 4-day work weeks instead of 5, because they realize some of their employees can work for 4 days and get the same amount done as in a 5-day work week. Because they're just, they just kind of cram it all in. So, man, love it. What else? We got about a minute and a half left. I know Meredith does product photography too, that you guys have started doing.
Yeah, we've done product photography, and our wedding videography business picked up on. So I help her out with that a little bit. So yeah,
multiple streams of income.
And I don't know if you saw this. I recently started doing some coaching as well.
Yes. You're a Jim Cochran coach. I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, the coaching program just got a whole heck of a lot better with Stetzen joining the team. And you're a part of the Legends group, and you help out a ton in that group. And so just publicly want to thank you for everything you do there. You just have a heart of service. And I told you this at the conference that, you pitch in wherever and now it makes me honestly, Stetzen, it makes me appreciate it even more what you do, because I know now after talking to you that you are very intentional about your time. And that, you have 12 hours, and you're not like, you're giving of that part of that time. You could be building your business and giving it into that group. And it's super huge. And like what you're doing now being on this radio show with me, it just means a lot. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for what you do.
I'm glad to. Yeah. The group means a lot to me. So I appreciate all your efforts and advice and just, who you are. I've shared that with you before too. So it's fun. I enjoy being here.
Well, it means a lot. Well, guys, this has been an awesome episode. Really enjoyed it. Probably we'll have him on again, because there's so much more we could dig into. After you have your little girl, we could talk how that has changed your business.
I have to reevaluate time.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, thanks so much for joining me on the Streams of Radio show. We'll see you in the next episode.